I know you've seen it, but let me explain what's really behind it. Because the consequences are much deeper than they seem. President Donald Trump has once again found himself at the center of a major economic debate, this time over his latest promise, sending checks directly to Americans by mail. On the surface, it sounds simple, but the implications could be far more complicated than they seem. And the biggest irony? The risk cuts both ways. If he doesn't follow through, it could trigger a political crisis. If he does, it could spark an economic one. Trump is pushing several financial initiatives at once. First, a dividend check of $2,000, funded by global tariff revenues. Second, the DOGE Savings Program, which proposes that 20% of budget savings from Elon Musk's cost-cutting initiatives be distributed directly to Americans. And third, a healthcare plan diverting a portion of funds from the Obamacare system directly to citizens who may even be allowed to keep the leftover money from insurance budgets. Details on these plans remain vague. The White House has yet to release a detailed framework, though Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt stated that the administration is exploring all legal options for $2,000 payments. But the lack of clarity has created a problem. Republicans find themselves caught in a bind. On one side are voters already expecting the money. On the other is the reality of the economy, where such cash infusions could carry serious risks. Republican strategist Doug Heye explains, if a politician promises people money multiple times and it never arrives, it leaves deep distrust. But if Trump actually sends the checks, the other problem is just as dangerous. It could almost certainly fuel inflation or reveal that the economy is much weaker than the White House admits. The U.S. economy today is not in a recession. Unemployment remains low, consumer spending is strong, and inflation has cooled enough that the Federal Reserve has begun lowering interest rates. Injecting additional money without clear need in this environment is a direct path to rising prices. Stimulus checks make sense during economic downturns, as they did during the pandemic, but today's situation is different. Former Biden administration economist Alex Jacques notes that direct payments were a standard tool during the COVID recovery. Today, similar initiatives seem more like political maneuvers than economic necessities. Meanwhile, Trump continues to push his idea. The president plans to travel the country this year and in 2026, focusing on the economy. Publicly, he says he wants money to go directly to the people. Behind the scenes, however, the administration acknowledges the path forward is highly complicated. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett emphasizes that for payments to begin, Congress must pass specific legislation. And that's where the political labyrinth begins. Senator Josh Hawley proposed a bill last summer to pay up to $2,400 per family of four from tariff revenues. Trump initially supported the idea, but the bill has since stalled. Senator Rick Scott is also preparing legislation for direct payments through the healthcare system, but so far, these initiatives remain just words. Another massive hurdle, a Supreme Court decision on tariffs. A strict interpretation could take away half of tariff revenues, making it nearly impossible to fund large-scale payments. Economists estimate the cost of the proposal at around $600 billion, while actual tariff revenue is only about half that amount. Despite these obstacles, White House officials insist the president is serious. They claim the administration is working on real solutions to affordability issues and that critics are jumping to conclusions too soon. This is further complicated by the fact that Republicans have spent years blaming Biden for high inflation. Now, with Trump himself talking about a possible new cash injection, most party members are staying silent to avoid internal contradictions. Current inflation stands around 3%, and many experts cite supply chain issues as the main driver. But even they acknowledge that stimulus programs may have played a role. During the pandemic, Trump already approved payments of up to $1,200 per person, and people still remember it. His signature on those checks left a lasting emotional impact. Biden, who deliberately did not sign his checks, called it a mistake. Trump understands the power of such symbols, which is why he continues hinting at new payments. The question now is whether the public has taken notice. Google searches for Trump $2,000 and stimulus check 2025 have spiked. But in a world where news changes every hour, holding voters' attention is difficult. Strategist High notes, if Trump doesn't keep this topic in the spotlight, it will quickly fade. All of this leaves the country in tense anticipation. Will the new checks trigger an economic disaster? Are they the only way to maintain voter trust? Or is it simply a tactical pre-election move? The answers aren't clear, but the stakes are enormous.